Hello, Professor. Today we are going to talk about Target. Target operates near 1,700 stores in 49 states. But recently, Target is trying to enhance customer shopping experience to save its declining sales. So in this case study, we are going to focus on correlation between census characteristic and the store's performance. So the goal of our analysis is to find out the statistical relationship between a store's sales with some demographic characteristics such as income, population, education, age, and race. So we try to determine whether the census data correlates with higher or poorer performance stores. Based on our analysis, we suggest that target to select locations with high population base, such as urban area and states like Texas, New York, and Florida. Also, we think the store should be built at a place with relatively high education level and high income level. I'm going to talk about the data and analysis soon in the following slide. So here's the procedure we go through to achieve our goal. First, we collect the data, and then we input the data into Excel. But not all the data is useful, so we clean the data and we only keep the useful variables. After that, we use JUMP to analyze the data and visualize the data. And based on the result, we have our conclusion and we give the recommendation based on our conclusion and then rewrite the report. Okay, so here's are the questions we want to ask before we do the analysis. We want to know, does the location have an influence on the store performance? Does income level has a significant influence on revenue? Can consumers' education influence stores' revenue? Does different age affect store performance? And the last question, we want to know whether race have any impact on the revenue of Target. So before we analyze the data, here's something we do. The first step, we clean the data. There are totally 36 variables. We clean it and we only keep 55 useful variables. And we also delete the columns with a lot of missing data. So the next step is to facilitate our analysis process. We classify all variables into 5 categories, which you can see in the chart. They are family, age, education, income, and race. So here comes our result. The first thing I want to talk about is the overall performance. We use the distribution analysis and we find out the average of year to date is 94.79, and there are more than 50% of Target stores distribute from 69.7 to 114.52. I consider that Target store is performing well overall because, as you can see in the chart, there are a lot of outliers here, which scores higher than 180. So there are pretty many stores they perform outstanding. Next, we want to find out the populations have anything to do with the performance. Well, the answer is yes. So we do the correlation analysis and we find out there is a strong positive relationship between population and stores. Well, as you can see here, I write down the number if it's not clear in the chart. So for the year to date and populations in 1 mile, the correlation is 0.33, which is strong and positive. So between the population in 2 mile and the revenue, the correlation is 0.36, which is also a strong positive relationship. And for the population in 3 mile versus the revenue, the correlation is 0.38, and we also consider it a strong positive relationship. So we would say that the larger the population around a store, the better a store performs. So in terms of which class of marketing is the best, I should say like which marketing class is the best for target to performance, we do the ANOVA test. And as you can see in this chart, the multifunction shopping mall has the highest revenue, which is around 100, following by the single shopping mall, which is around maybe 80, and the lowest is the small mall, which is around 60. And we find out the difference between these three market class is significant because the p-value is lower than 0.05. So we can say that in all circumstances, multifunction store has the best performance based on our analysis. And the next one I want to talk about is performance versus education. We also do the correlation analysis, and we find out customer with higher education, such as college student, white collar, or professor, they tend to have higher consumption in Target, which leads to better store performance. On the contrary, there is a strong negative relationship between store's performance and consumer with high school education level or lower. As you can see here, well, for the revenue and versus the college graduate, the correlation is 0.38, strong, right? With white collar, the correlation is 0.39, strong positive. And with professor or manager, the correlation is also strong, it's 0.39. But let's look at the revenue versus high school graduate. It's negative 0.39. So we said there's a strong negative relationship between store performance and high school graduation level. Also, we want to see the performance versus income level. We did a correlation analysis and we find out there is a strong positive relationship between household income and store performance. The higher household income in this area, the larger revenue that targets store in this particular area. So you can see here, the correlation are all high. Household income larger than 35K per year, 0.46. Household income larger than 50K per year, 0.48 correlation. Household income larger than 75K or even larger than 100K per year. The correlation is 0.5. It's really strong. Okay, The last thing we want to evaluate is the number of vehicles owned in per family versus target store performance. So I do the fixed y by x, and I find there's a positive relation between the number of vehicles a household owned and store performance. You can see here, it's a strict line. The more vehicles owned by a family, the higher revenue can target earned in that area. And the result is significant because the p-value is lower than 0.05. So it means like the higher the number of vehicles owned by per family in a region, the higher revenue that store can earn in this region. So based on all the analysis I talked about before, here comes our recommendation. We recommend that Target should set store location in the region with dense population because the more population brings higher revenue. Also, Target should open more multifunction stores. And Target should build its stores in the region with higher potential rates of vehicles. Also, Target should set stores at high education region, and it should target the region with high income level. Also, based on our analysis, we find out there's no relationship between age or races in terms of store performance. So we will recommend that remove all this question about age and races when doing the census because they're meaningless and it might offend people when asking them. So delete them is better choice. And that's all our presentation. Thank you so much for listening. Any questions? Thank you.